You're watching WAFB's streaming newscast, live and local, with Dion Guillory. This is 9 News at 5:30.
We start streaming tonight at 5:30 with breaking news. President Donald Trump announcing that the Education Department is pausing a plan to seize wages and tax refunds for defaulted student loan borrowers. The announcement comes a little more than a week after the agency had planned to start warning defaulted borrowers that their wages would be garnished. The temporary delay will enable the department to implement major student loan repayment reforms under the Working Families Tax Cuts Act to give borrowers more options to repay their loans. The administration says these reforms include simplifying repayment options and gives borrowers a chance to get their federal student loans back on track. Now that delay comes as President Trump rolls out his solution to the health care crisis, dubbed the Great Health Care Plan. It comes as millions see their health care insurance premiums spike. WFB Washington Bureau reporter Molly Martinez picks up the story from the North Lawn of the White House.
The president's plan promises to slash drug prices and allow individuals to negotiate on their own behalf. He even went so far as to promise direct payments to Americans. How he's going to make all that happen, though, is unclear.
This is called officially the Great Health Care Plan. That means low price and great health care.
According to the White House, the plan would codify the Trump administration's most favored nation deals to get Americans the same prices for prescription drugs that other countries pay.
Whoever's paying the lowest, we match it.
It also promises $1 billion per state to shore up rural hospitals.
Strengthening their workforce, modernizing facilities and technology, and ensuring that rural Americans get world-class health care in their own community, right smack in their own community.
Missing from the plan, subsidy extensions for lower-income Americans and fresh options for patients with pre-existing conditions. Also worth noting, the actual work is up to Congress. The plan is more of a wish list turned to-do list for lawmakers. As Secretary Mehmet Oz explains, the baton is now in their hands.
We need Congress to help craft the Great America Health Care Plan. And the Great Health Care Plan will work. It's a brilliantly conceived framework.
Healthcare has historically been a thorny topic for lawmakers, recently causing the longest government shutdown in history. They now face a new potential shutdown over healthcare at the end of the month. At the White House, I'm Molly Martinez.
New tonight, a Tulane School of Law graduate with deep ties to Louisiana has been appointed to one of the top leadership positions at U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Charles Wall was named Deputy Director of ICE effective immediately. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem saying Wall brings extensive legal and leadership experience to the role, having spent the last year as ICE's principal legal advisor. Prior to joining ICE, Wall worked as a prosecutor and senior assistant district attorney at the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office. President Trump renewing his call for Minnesota's elected leaders to do more to put an end to the anti-ICE protests. He's threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act and send in federal troops. As Ian Lee shows us, violent confrontations between protesters and ICE agents are happening on a daily basis.
Destiny Jackson was driving her family home from basketball practice Wednesday night when they got caught between protesters and ICE agents in Minneapolis.
Everybody's seeing what happened with Renee.
Officers started yelling at them to move. Before they could, Jackson says the agents released a canister of tear gas under the car.
Within seconds, there was a big boom and our car was up in the air and we slammed down.
The mom of 6 says strangers helped get her family out of the car. The last, her 6-month-old baby boy.
And he was like lifeless, foam or bubbles coming out of his mouth. I had to give him mouth-to-mouth and CPR. And all I remember is like between every breath I was saying, I'm gonna give you every breath I have until you get yours back.
Accounts like Jackson's are piling up and drawing widespread criticism of how ICE agents are going about their stated objective, arresting and deporting people who are in the U.S. illegally.
Just the tip of the iceberg.
Democratic Congress members held an unofficial hearing in St. Paul where they heard from 20-year-old Mubashir, a U.S. citizen who was detained while on his lunch break.
They dragged me outside and put me into a headlock on the ground. I repeated, I'm a citizen, I have an ID. The agent kept saying, that don't matter.
Earlier this week, vandals smashed a federal vehicle and took items out of it. At the White House, President Trump reiterated he's willing to invoke the Insurrection Act to stop the violence.
I don't think there's any reason right now to use it, but if I needed it, I'd use it.
CBS News has obtained internal DHS data that shows throughout the United States, ICE has more than 70,000 people facing deportation in its custody, the most in the agency's 23-year history. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
President Trump suggesting tonight that he may put tariffs on countries that don't back his plan to control Greenland. Governor Jeff Landry, you may remember, went to Washington to take part in talks about the Danish territory. But tonight, a bipartisan group of lawmakers traveled to Denmark to show support. Erica Brown on Capitol Hill tonight.
President Trump suggested a pressure tactic Friday he may use in his push to acquire Greenland.
I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security.
It comes the same day that a bipartisan group of congressional lawmakers visited Denmark to, quote, lower the temperature on the rhetoric aimed at the NATO ally.
We spoke about the value of NATO and the commitment to respecting the core principles of sovereignty, territorial integrity, and self-determination.
Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory of Denmark. This week, European nations sent small numbers of additional troops to the strategically located island at Denmark's request. Reporters in Denmark asked U.S. lawmakers how they could intervene if President Trump actually tries to take over Greenland. Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski pointed to Congress's power to control federal spending.
Greenland needs to be viewed as our ally, not as an asset.
On another hot-button foreign policy issue, Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado praised President Trump Friday for the U.S. capture of former Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
It took a lot of courage to do what he did. And he did it, yes, on behalf of the American people, but also because he cares for the people of Venezuela.
The comment comes a day after Machado gave Trump her Nobel Peace Prize medallion. The president called that a wonderful gesture, but has not endorsed Machado to be Venezuela's next president. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Taiwan has struck a new trade deal with the U.S. to cut tariffs. The agreement lowers the tariff rate on Taiwanese exports to a minimum of 15%, which is down from 20%. In exchange, Taiwanese companies will invest $250 billion to build and expand chip, energy, and AI operations in America. Those companies will also provide a credit line to help U.S. firms expand their own supply chains. The deal comes one day after President Trump enacted a new tariff on chips with some exemptions in place. This pact protects Taiwan from those future tariffs. The Trump administration is trying to get technology giants to foot the bill for surging power costs related to new data centers. The White House is planning to ask PJM Interconnection to hold an emergency auction during an event where tech companies would bid to build new power plants. However, there's one problem. PJM officials say they were not invited to that event and will not be there. PJM is the biggest grid operator in the U.S., covering 13 states as well as the District of Columbia. The average cost of a new car is at a record high. Listen to this, it's around $50,000. That's according to Edmunds and Kelly Blue Book. No new models under $20,000 remain on the market. Importing cars and auto parts cost 25% more now due to tariffs. U.S. automakers are trying to eat that cost, but the duties seem to have doomed low-cost vehicles. Now, Edmunds says the cheapest new car is the 2026 Hyundai Venue at $20,550. Defense attorneys tonight for the 22-year-old man in Utah charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk are seeking to disqualify prosecutors in the case over an alleged conflict of interest. Tyler Robinson is charged with aggravated murder in Kirk's deadly shooting back in September. The alleged conflict of interest involves an 18-year-old child of a deputy county attorney who attended the campus event where Kirk was shot. Prosecutors with the Utah County Attorney's Office plan to seek the death penalty if Robinson is convicted. He has not yet entered a plea. Tonight, a popular online gaming platform is facing a new federal lawsuit alleging it failed to protect a 12-year-old Washington State girl from a predator. That lawsuit comes months after Louisiana filed a similar suit accusing Roblox of allowing adults to target kids through the app. Bridget Chavez has those details.
It's supposed supposed to be a game for kids.
The whole thing is geared to kids.
But this lawsuit alleges Roblox has become something far more dangerous, a hunting ground for child predators.
They are really looking to hold Roblox accountable, but beyond that, to make sure that what happened to them does not happen to any other family.
The lawsuit filed Thursday morning in federal court in Northern California was brought on behalf of a Snohomish County family. It alleges a predator targeted their daughter when she was just 12 years old.
We have over 40 cases now filed all over the country, and the facts read almost, verbatim, where you have a predator that is using Roblox to prey on a young child.
Jamie Powers, an attorney for the family, says what happened here follows that same pattern. The predator identified and targeted her in a Roblox game, falsely claiming to be a child of her age. Then employed well-documented grooming tactics, building trust under the false pretense that he was a peer. He then manipulated the plaintiff into believing that they were in a relationship and coerced her into sending multiple explicit images of herself. If she refused, he threatened her until she complied with his demands. In a statement, Roblox said in part, "We are deeply troubled by any incident that endangers any user. Roblox aims to build a platform that sets the bar for safety online, and we prioritize the safety of our community." Legal experts say this case hinges on a much bigger question.
The parents and the people that are bringing the lawsuits are trying to claim, no, you're a product. And as a product, you bear liability, like if I was putting out a defective car or a defective drug or any of those kinds of things, you're strictly liable for the results of that.
That responsibility is exactly what courts are now being asked to weigh.
Obviously, if you're going to maintain a playground, then you have a responsibility to make sure that there's nothing like flamethrowers or pointed sticks or other kinds of things around kids.
All right, now to this story, which is probably going to have you talking and telling your friends about this one. A restaurant in Houston releasing video of a couple they say was caught on surveillance video allegedly putting hair in their food and then complaining about it. Take a look at this. In the video, you can see a woman allegedly remove a piece of her hair and put it on the table. Later in the video, you can see the man allegedly put that hair in his food. The restaurant says after the server was alerted, they comped the couple's meal. Laisha Ramirez, the daughter of the restaurant owner, says she later reviewed the surveillance footage and then saw what happened. She says no one on the staff has that same hair color that was found in the food. She says she chose to release the footage so this doesn't happen again to another restaurant. When we come back, Henry Blakes is here with your chances for some snow this weekend. That's in 2 minutes.